coaching as a journey happened for me. I started to learn with you on what it means to be a coach and talk so much that it's been very difficult. It's not easy to sit there and not give advice. It's very difficult because you see a person, you talk to a person, and I generally talk to younger folks, people much younger than me, who are, I can see they're making a mistake, but I need to keep quiet and let them discover for themselves what's a mistake and what's the right choice. That's tough. It's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. So that's the next version. I'm hoping to be a coach who's a strong coach and listens and does not give advice.
By standing in our truth fiercely, we become the life force of change. It unlocks our self worth and fuels our confidence and empowers us to ignite transformation in others. Welcome to another episode of I'm the Change podcast that is on a mission to bring you stories packed with insights of courage, self accountability, resilience, revamped self worth, and revealing the battle won by defeating self doubt several times, and have dedicated their time and passion to light the path for others. These stories leave you with insights, inspirations, possibility, very much required for this busy, divided, overloaded, and conflicted world. The podcast is dedicated for all the coaches with a simple message to own their story and raise their self worth. Today, we are hosting a very special guest, Deepti. Welcome. Deepti brings 25 years of HR leadership experience, having worked with various MNCs like Jetpack, Aeon India, Dentsu, Taskas, and currently leading the HR for Software One India. She has explored in diverse verticals of HR such as business partnership, learning and development, talent management, and diversity and inclusion. Through these experiences, she discovered the concept of stereotyping, unbiased, unconscious bias. Having experienced these herself, she took to spreading the message of body positivity and self love, which has now become a mission. In this endeavor, she pursued the journey of pageantry and won the Miss India International Plus Size title in 2023, showcasing that all the bodies are beautiful, irrespective of size or age, actively promoting the concept of I'm enough. She has also co-founded a social community for women undergoing menopause called Bloom Demulsifying Menopause, directed towards supporting women during the phase of life. Deepti, welcome.
It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for having me here.
It's such a pleasure to host you. I know we have been in touch and we've been closely working and supporting each other for last more than a year now.
Yes.
Right, and definitely I got glimpses of your stories in different interactions, and I thought, why not? This is a platform where we want to be vulnerable and speak the truth. And only when we do that is when we are inspiration for others. So, welcome again to I'm the Change podcast.
Thank you.
As I shared, this podcast is really about true stories of change, and especially those coaches who have then taken the path to support others. So I'm very excited and pumped to invite your story here. What's your change story, Deepti?
I'm very excited to be here as well because it's only through these small experiences that we go through in life that somewhere you feel that after all the strength you've put into that, going through that, somewhere it will touch somebody who will make it their own and use that experience or that story to help themselves come out of whatever they are in. So my story is fairly long, but let me share some snippets of that. I was born to a family where the independence of thought and mind was sort of ingrained into us while we were growing up. Any decision that we had to make was first put to us that you tell us what you want to do, and then let's figure out what's the best course for you. And then we'll decide. And that's how it went. And so the parents do their best, and then the children decide to use that independence in some strange way. So I got married at the age of 21, and my decision, I decided that that's the right time to do things. And I was a mother at 23. And from there on, as regular Indian households happen, my life took on the mother, the daughter-in-law, the wife, and the pet parent. All of that, those kind of roles started to happen. I also was working at that time. Unfortunately, my family was very narcissistic, and I had a narcissist partner as well as my father-in-law, and I went through a fair amount of emotional abuse, and which kind of I took in, because typical Indian mother, the child needs to be supported and needs both parents, least realizing that at the end of the day, if the parents are unhappy or if the mother is unhappy, the child automatically gets impacted. And over a period of time, that period of time was 20 years, but 20 years of abuse, emotional, financial, somewhere physical, that led to me finally breaking through and saying enough is enough and I'm going to move on. That was also the time that my son was trying to pursue his dreams, and his dream was to go to UBC, which was a dream since he was in class 9. So he wanted to go to UBC Canada to study. And all of a sudden it was just me and him, because the rest of the family kind of abandoned us, and they said that, okay, since you're with your mother, well, all the best to you. And so I was at a point where I had to support him. I did not want to let go of his dreams. So it really was up to me, and whatever I was earning was totally his. We've gone through times where he would call me up at the end of the month around the 25th or so and say, Mom, can you send me just $20? I'd say, but I don't have that kind of money right now to send to you. And so we've gone through that. And thankfully, after 4 glorious years, he finished his graduation. And in 2020, while COVID hit us, he graduated.
So you're saying this period of struggle went on for 4 years, both of you alone?
Yes, he was in Canada, I was here, and it used to be difficult because there were times when he'd say, I want to come home, and I'm like, I don't have the money for you to come back. I can't fund your tickets. So somewhere or the other, we kind of managed. Very difficult time, but a few sacrifices from my side, from his side, not a typical party graduate experience that he had. All the stories that we hear about, you can have so much fun when you're outside. Well, he didn't get to do that, poor fellow. But that's all right. It's part of who he is today. But my change came in 2020 because um, for many years it was my parents, then it was the family that I was married into, my husband, my father-in-law, that I listened to. Then it was about my job, then it was about my son. Somewhere never got to know who I am, or who is this person that I have become. A lot of people said, you're very strong, you're very, you have energy, you have this, you have that. I never saw that. I just didn't see that. All I saw was the abuse. And the abuse came from the fact that over a period of time, I had put on weight. So there was a lot of body shaming. Everything was, my entire existence was about how fat I was or what clothes I wore. And that's what I became, right? I was very conscious of myself. I didn't show it, but very conscious of myself. The There were two different personalities that I had. One which was at work, very confident, very in your face kind of person, and the other one who just didn't talk at home and just said yes, no, maybe, that kind of stuff. But in 2020, once my son graduated, he got himself a job. I kind of realized I had no purpose, and that purpose that I lived for was over. So what now? And I didn't know what now. I had no answer to that. I was also at a juncture. If you asked me what's your favorite cuisine, I wouldn't know. If you took me to a restaurant and said order, I wouldn't know what to order, because for all my life it had always been somebody else was ordering for me. Somebody else was deciding for me what I wore. Somebody else was deciding what I wore. So I was at a point where I just didn't know. And that's when I think the penny dropped for me. That I've lived so many years of my life being somebody for somebody else, whether it was for my son or for my in laws or for my husband or even for my parents. But it was always for somebody else. Who is the real me? And that's when I decided that from now on, now that my son is settled, he has his own thing going, I'm going to start to discover who I am. And that's how it started. That's how the change started for me. And obviously, you can't figure out overnight who you are. You have to spend so much time in experimenting, in putting yourself out there. Nothing will come to you just sitting down and you say, some nirvana is going to happen. That's not going to happen. You have to put yourself out there. You have to realize that unless you are not scared to open yourself to new experiences, you're never going to know who you are. So that's how my change started, and that's my story.
So, if you have to look at the versions of change you've gone through, what version are you living right now?
The version, that's a good question. The version I'm living right now is someone who's still in the process of, it's still work in progress.
Sure,
Still work
every
in
version
progress.
is in
Yeah.
progress. So, will you call it version 3 or 4? Like those milestones, which, or I would not call it milestone, but those bumps that create a
Yeah.
change journey. So, which version are you from?
I think if I'm just making a mental calculation, this is like version 5.
Ah, interesting, interesting.
Yes, it
Can
is
you
version
talk
5.
about the
Yeah.
boundaries of each version? Like, what was the first
Yeah.
version like?
So the first version was the very vulnerable, very quiet person in the family who couldn't open up about what she was feeling. And to quite an extent, I'm still very wary of sharing my feelings with people, but I'm still way ahead from where I was, right? So that version who was scared of saying that I want to break free, that was version 1. And when I went out of my marriage, which was 2016, I think that was version 2, because from being a family person, I completely became this Durga avatar of protective towards the child, and everything was about him. So that was my version 2. The version 3 came, and it had a very significant little bit of drama there as well. When this whole thing happened, I actually went bald. This was in 2020. And I was like, it was such it was something that was, because I was during COVID, because I was isolated like so many other people. So all the layers that were there came off, and the raw person came in, and I couldn't handle it. So I needed something to break free.
Can you talk more about that rawness? What do you mean by?
So it's very simple, right? When you're going through something and you are a person who doesn't talk about feelings, so you cover it up with various things.
Right.
Friends, go watch a movie, go for a party, come back home and drink, or just get into isolation and read a book, watch movies incessantly. In COVID, one by one, everything got taken away from you. You couldn't meet your friends. You couldn't meet your family. That escape, that I'm feeling really sad. So what do I do? Let me go for a party. That
There was
party wasn't
nothing to
there.
hide behind.
Nothing to hide behind. And over a period of time, I was not comfortable being alone with myself. I had to keep doing something. And in COVID, you couldn't constantly do that. How much of cooking can you do? And I hate cooking. So I didn't do that. But there's only so much of I picked up playing the piano, which I'm still doing terribly, but I'm persistent with it. But so all of a sudden, the feelings that I was hiding from came in the front, and I couldn't hide behind anything anymore. So I had to deal with them, and I needed a sense of freedom, and that's when I shaved my head off. I don't know what sense of freedom it gave me.
Really?
Yes, that's how I got these gray hair.
Oh, okay. This was
Yeah.
2019?
20.
20. You shaved completely.
Yes, I was like totally bald.
That I didn't know. Okay.
Yes, interesting.
It needs a lot of courage to do that, by the way, I must say.
Yeah, but then I was at home and not going out anywhere.
Still, to face yourself, I mean, I would think quite a bit to do that, but yeah, it's an act of courage, definitely.
Yeah, so I think that was version 3, because like I said, that gave me a sense of freedom. It gave me a sense of I can deal with this. It's not a big deal, and somewhere maybe I was hiding behind that bald head also, because it was somewhere to deflect conversations about how are you feeling. So the first thing people saw was bald head. Wow. Or like, so the conversation could get deflected very easily. So it could have been that too.
Interesting. So did you do that to deflect, or was that just a moment of liberation or freedom? What was it exactly?
So
Like,
for
what made you
me,
really take the decision to go and shave?
yeah, so for me it was a release, like an emotional release, that this is something I can do. I have the freedom to do it. I don't need to be worried about anybody. It's my decision. I have decided it and I'm doing it.
Nobody can say anything. Okay, and then you realize it's deflecting conversations, and then
I
did
mean,
you enjoy that piece?
yeah, I mean, it was because I loved the sense of horror with which everybody saw me after that. So it was fun. Though my mother didn't speak to me for 3 months, that's a different issue altogether. But I liked the way things were moving after that. Like, what made me completely ecstatic about it, I didn't have to ask anybody.
No
Can I
permission.
do this?
No
No
permission.
permission. No permission. Can I do this? Should I do this? No. I felt like it and I did it. And from there on, that's how it started. So I must tell you this, when COVID opened up and, we started traveling again, I had this thing. I've always wanted to wear a bikini. Okay. But I've been told, look at your body. What the heck? You look like a huge tire in a bikini. All of that. I've heard all the jokes. During one of the Goa trips, I said I wanted to wear one and I wore one. And you know what? I realized that it's all in our head. Nobody is bothered about what you're looking like and what you're wearing. Only you are. So again, that liberation to say, I don't need anybody's permission to do this. I will do it. And if I like what I see in the mirror, for me, that is the truth. I don't care what your
Opinion.
way of looking at me is, but mine is what I see in the mirror and I love it. And that's how it's going to be. So that's where it started. Also got to feature, not feature, I mean shoot for a brand for its swimwear for plus size women. And from there, there is where this plus size thing started, because I realized there are so many women like me. It's not just about being plus size.
Yeah.
Even the thinnest of women are so conscious of their body,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
conscious.
Yes. Right.
And we just don't want to own it. We don't want
We
to
do.
own
Yeah.
the body that we are in. So that was version 4.
This reminds me of a conversation with somebody, an American, and I just appreciated them for their skin, saying, "Wow, wow, you're so, your skin is so nice." And they said, "Really? We look at Indians and we say their skin is great because we are so white and we can't, any color. We have to be really conscious about the colors we use, and not every color suits us. All that." Whatever, that conversation flipped my perspective, because I think we are always looking at others, right? If I'm British, I'll look at somebody who's more fair and I would consider that, because that's what is being looked at. And I remember some of the brands now do that, the advertisements around, using a dark skin for advertisements. I think Marks and Spencer's does a lot of advertisement around it. And then plus size was a conversation in fashion industry, I remember, to break the stereotype. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really in our head. We're always looking for something that we don't have.
that we don't have. And believe me, I've been on a perpetual diet all my life, always on a diet. And you just kind of stop living. And nowhere am I saying that be fat and be happy and forget about your medical issues. No, exercise. I mean, I exercise. I make sure that my diet is healthy. I make sure that every 3 to 4 months, at least six months, I go through all my tests, make sure that I have a clean bill of health. So it's not about that. It's about accepting who you are. And that who you are is what you see in the mirror. Every time I know of a friend who refused to keep a full length mirror in her room because she didn't like how she looked. And she was half my size. And that's like really, really sad because this is who you are. This is what you have. Yes, you want to improve for yourself, not for somebody else, or not for a body standard that has been put up by somebody else. So washboard apps, yes. Abs, sorry, not abs, washboard abs on the beach. Who said one needs to have those abs to be on the beach? You can very well have a tire and be there. That's absolutely fine. It's about how you are having fun. So I think that was a big change. And that's when the pageant happened. And I was very proud after winning that because I was one of the oldest contestants. So at the age of what, 49, there were other women who were 18, 22, etc. But I was like, in the beginning, I thought, I don't know what I'm doing here. Why am I here? Like, look at all these young ones. But I was there to prove something to myself, not to anybody else. Whether I got the crown or I didn't get the crown, I was there to prove to myself that I can do this. I can be part of the same group that these youngsters are a part of.
हाँ, अच्छा चलो कोई बात नहीं, ऐसे भी edit हो जाएगा. So the point that you're bringing up is that, one, when we get defined by circumstances, people, conditioning, whatever, and to the journey of really owning yourself up and accepting yourself up is not that easy. While we have all the gyan in the right, this is the toughest journey everybody goes through, right?
Yes.
It's not as easy as to say, hey, doesn't matter, go show up. Showing up is the most difficult task in the world. So what really helped you? And where does coaching comes into this journey, and how were you supported in this, difficult taking those difficult steps for yourself?
So, to quite an extent, I'd be honest, I'm fairly self driven. So, that helped. I'm self driven as in stubborn. That can be work both ways, right? One is earlier I used to be like, if I wear this, what is somebody like? Is it going to look okay? Now I don't care. Love a particular way of dressing and I will do that, whether others like it or not. So that is a mindset, right? So that mindset is there. The second thing is a lot of support. Like you have to build your tribe, right? And I'm very happy to say a very strong tribe, very strong tribe that supports me. The biggest one being my son. So one of the holidays that he came on during his graduation, he put up my profile on a dating app, this Bumble. Yeah, that's where I met my partner as well. But he put it up saying, y- "You are a person who deserves to share their life with somebody." I said, I don't need." He said, "You don't need it, but it won't be bad to have somebody." He said, "This is not for a need. This is more for putting yourself out there. Do you want to?" I said, "Yeah, it's part of my journey to be vulnerable, put myself out there and see like what will happen. I may get hurt, I may hurt somebody, but at the end of the day, I'll grow." That he's like one of my strongest advocates and help that I have, support that I have. The other is I have a very strong group of friends. So the pageant was actually a suggestion from one of my friends, and then everybody got involved in what I should wear, what the kind of designer I should be looking at, so on and so forth. I mean, I had so much support. I really didn't need to do much. And everybody was so excited about putting everything together for me that I didn't have that much work before I went. And of course, I have a very, very strong support in my family. But a lot of people have all of this, but they still don't leverage them. What is really important is for you to be open with them. You can't get into a hole and say, right now, I don't want them to know about this or want them to know about that. Well, they're there to support you. And it's for you to take that help. If you're not going to ask for it, nobody's going to dream that you need help. So I think that is very important. And there are times like, different friends and different people have different importance in your life. I have a friend I can cry to. I can call up and say, I'm very sad and I feel like crying. And she will let me cry. There's no lecture on you be strong and this and that. And she's like, okay, cry. And then we cry. And then we get over it. And then we move on. And then there are friends that I take advice from on regular day to day stuff. So that, and of course, there are my parents.
Awesome. That's
So, yeah.
so your change was so this is the fifth version of change.
Yes. So the fifth version is practically a combination of my corporate and my passions. So I'm leveraging both sides on both fronts, leveraging my passion, etc., on the corporate front, as well as leveraging what I've learned in my corporate arena for pursuing my passion. I recently went on to give a TEDx talk in Mumbai, and that was a combination of the two. What I've learned throughout and my journey again. So that's version 5 again. I don't know where this one will go.
Okay, and where are you heading?
Where I'm heading is the coaching part of it. Now, you asked me earlier where did coaching come into this? While I didn't go through any formal, let me get on to a life coach or this thing. I think all my friends particularly, have been very strong coaches for me. Like I said, that bouncing off ideas, when you're at a crossroad, sitting down and just reworking your path and figuring out which way you want to go. If you sit down with somebody and even think aloud, it bounces off, right? So I think coaching has been there. But what I realized is that while the journey took me now nearly around 10 years, would it have been shorter if I had just had like this one person that I went to constantly and, that sounding board? I know the answers may be within, but I just need somebody to bring them out for me. And that's when I think, coaching as a journey happened for me. I started to learn with you on what it means to be a coach and talk so much that it's been very difficult. It's not easy to sit there and not give advice. It's very difficult because you see a person, you talk to a person, and I generally talk to younger folks, people much younger than me, who I can see they're making a mistake, and but I need to keep quiet and let them discover for themselves what's a mistake and what's the right choice. That's tough. It's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. So that's the next version. I'm hoping to be a coach who's a strong coach and listens and does not give advice.
Okay, you'll get there, don't worry. All right. So what's your one advice? What is the one myth about change that people live with and they never take the chance on themselves? What is your story?
It's not a myth, it's a reality that, so I don't know about the myth, but most people feel that change is too scary, right? Yes, it is scary. There's no doubt about it. It is very, very scary. It's a horror story. But unless we deal with that horror story, it will not it'll be of no use. You can continue to do the same thing. It's like insanity, right? Continuing to do the same thing every day expecting a different result is insanity. Similarly, if you don't take the step for change, then you don't have the right to crib.
So what was the moment of insanity for you?
To give you the story, have times that moment of, so because of the emotional violence in my relationship with my ex-husband, I never had the courage to tell him that this is over, right? And I was just living it every day while I had realized it in maybe 2014. This was 2016. I was really sick, really, really sick. I had very bad condition, and he decided that we were actually looking at redoing our home somewhere. So he said, "No, let's go now." And I could barely get up from the bed. And he said, "No, no, you're fine. Just have a bath and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine." And true to my self, I got up. I had that bath and headed out January with a cap on my head because I was suffering from viral and heavy sinusitis. And we went through the motions, got things done, all of that. On the way back, because of his whatever, OCD or whatever, he put the windows down. This is January. And we're coming down the highway. And there's a blast of cold air. And I just completely lost it. Completely lost it. And I don't know where, because of the discomfort, physical discomfort, or the emotional breakdown, that how does this man not see what I'm going through, both emotionally and physically? And I just said, mid highway, I said, just stop, put the car on the side. And I just turned around and said, listen, I want out. I don't love you anymore. And that was for me the moment of insanity. If I had not taken that step, I would have come back, cried my eyes out, and come out smiling again from the bathroom. So, yeah, for me, that was the moment of insanity. Somewhere, I think you just snap, and that bit of courage, call it insanity or courage, I don't know. But yeah, that is required.
So what I'm also realizing is, and with all the stories of change that I've heard, change really knocks at the door,
Yes,
and you know who's standing outside, but there are times that you say, no, no, go, I don't want to talk to you. And there are times you said, I exactly wanted to see you. And that's when we step out to say, let's go for a walk, let's talk. Your voice went away, can't hear you. What happened suddenly?
it went on to mute. Have
Now,
I been?
now maybe you touched something by mistake. Anyway, yeah, you were saying
I'm saying that's a beautiful thing to say. You know, during my pageant interview questions, so there was this middle of the night. I don't know why pageants happen in the middle of the night. This is 2 a.m., dressed in all your finery and everything. A panel of judges sitting there. So they
something.
said,
Why does it?
I don't know. I don't know. I think their stage is not ready in time or whatever it is. But I mean, it starts only at 10 o'clock in the night. So
There must be some reason, I guess. Okay.
yes. So sitting over there, and they said, introduce yourself. I said, I'm a person who's just met myself.
Hmm.
I've just about met myself, so I don't know what to introduce to you except to say that, I just looked into the mirror recently and I loved the person who was staring back, and I'm getting to know her better. And that's my introduction. Maybe that's what won me the crown, but that was the truth. And you're right. Change, like opportunity, keeps knocking at your door. Unless you open that door and say, okay, I'm ready now and I'm going to just take it, it's not going to happen, because you need to put yourself out there. I can't keep waiting, crying every day, waiting for some, whether it's knight in shining armor or something to happen, praying to God that some change will happen. It'll not happen unless I make it happen.
Yeah, it's the
So,
edge.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Without edge, we never take a jump.
Yeah,
We keep walking, we keep avoiding those edges, but there comes a time where there is no path beyond that.
beyond that. And you just have to seize it.
You have to seize it. Yeah. Right. Awesome. Awesome. So What's your advice to other coaches, Deepti? You have been also, you have a community of women coaches, women, and you've been interacting with coaches also and people in helping profession. What do you see? How much are they able to help themselves when they're helping others?
I think that's there's a big dark hole there. Because it's very easy to help others. That's what I did, right?
Yeah.
Till 2020, that's what I did. It was very easy to keep helping others because we get this sense of accomplishment and a sense of achievement when we see somebody coming and thanking us, saying, it was because of you that this happened. Yes. But what about us? What about the person inside?
Yeah.
Firstly, how much do you know that person? That in itself is such a big question. And I'm not talking about introverts and extroverts, but how comfortable are you spending time on your own with your thoughts? Take away even that book from the introvert. How comfortable are you with your own thoughts when you discover that? So, my advice to anybody who's here coaching somebody else, that first be sure about the person that you are, because even though you don't reflect yourself in your coachees, but unless you've been there, been vulnerable, been able to open up to your own self, what you're telling them is very superficial, right? That heartfelt thing, the genuine thing comes out when you are in tune with the person that you are.
Can you make out when you talk to people? Is it possible to see the face behind it?
I think a lot of us are very good at wearing masks, me included, very good at wearing masks. But I feel that as a coachee, that connection with the person will be deeper if your connection with yourself is there and the coachee can see it. At least that's what I have seen with the younger lot. To be able to empathize with them on what they're going through, etc. That comes when you have been kind to yourself. How are you expecting somebody to be kind to themselves if you yourself haven't done that? Then you're just saying it, no? That's just lip service.
Awesome. So we are quite at the top of the hour. I'd like to ask you, what are some of the resources? I love the way that you said that you had friends around who were coaches, mentor types to you, who could listen to you, who can allow you to be who you are. A lot of people don't have that privilege. Especially, I think when we become coaches, our journeys become much more lonelier than anyone else. What are some of the resources you can guide people towards?
I think as coaches, having a coach as the person that we bounce it off with or talk to, that really helps. I'm a huge advocate of mental health practitioners, whether they are counselors or they are psychologists. You don't need medication, don't need anything, but just a person who knows how to listen to you. Doesn't have to have an answer or a solution, but a person who knows how to listen to you. I think that is a real requirement. Having a coach helps. Also, having, if you want to call it therapy, yes, therapy, otherwise, counseling really helps. It's not so
Did you?
therapy is not about a mental illness only. It's also getting yourself together, right?
Yeah.
So that helps. I mean, you give yourself a hot shower or a warm shower when you're tired, right? So that therapist also or counselor comes across as that warm shower for you.
Did you use therapy for yourself?
Yes, I did.
Did it help you?
I was not honest with my therapy because it was very early in the stage that I was in. I was still way too guarded.
Hmm.
And I think I was trying to manipulate my therapists into making them hear what they wanted to hear. So that was not the right time for me.
So you're bringing out a very important point, and thanks for being honest here, because this is what a lot of people do. They are not vulnerable with coaches or mentors or therapists, and they're trying to put up a face, trying to look good, and and then they come back and say Bekartha, right? So this we have seen it time and again, seen that people especially when you are in a helping profession. Let's say if you're a HR or you're a LND or you are a coach or you're a mentor or therapist, you are so guarded, and then the efficacy of the process goes out of the window. So that's a message that I would like to share with everybody, that focus on helping yourself too.
Yeah.
A lot of people have actually made these careers and they have forgotten to take care of themselves, and they are going on damaging their internal self just because they're signing checks every regularly, and they don't want to. And interestingly, what I have also noticed, and I don't know if you resonate with this, is why we want people to pay us. There is a huge hesitation to pay someone else for our own therapy or for our own coaching. And that's something which I find strange, that you don't want to have the same medicine you're giving to others. What's going on? What do you think about that? Do you see that somewhere else, or have you seen it with yourself?
It goes back to how much of priority you want to give to yourself. You don't at any point in time think that you're important enough to be spent money on.
Hmm.
Shopping is not spending money on yourself, but actually going and saying, I need help and I'm willing to invest. Now this is an investment in yourself, in your mental health, in your thought process that you have, in your progress and your future. So that's an investment. So it's not spending money or wasting money or something like
Well,
that
process.
on our own self. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and yeah, so even for me, like I said, the therapy, everybody said, because I was going through such a lot of trauma in 2026, everybody said therapy, therapy, therapy. For 3 months I went to therapy, and all I did was cry. And every time she asked me some questions, I knew why she was asking me, because I'm an intelligent person. I knew why she was asking me. I knew the kind of things I should have said, which would have helped me, but I didn't, because I felt very heavy about it. And I thought that this would just make me so vulnerable. And also, I had not shared that thing of what will the other person think about me. We forget that coaches, therapists, etc., the people who are helping you in different ways are not tuned to judge you. And they're not thinking about you. They're thinking about your wellness. Yeah. And when I started the coaching part of it, I loved that whole aspect of listening without judgment, which is so important, which is absolutely something that resonated with me so much, because it's very difficult to do that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, I'm just loving this conversation because there are so many intersections and resonance here. How would you like to conclude this conversation? What's your final message to the listeners?
Two messages. One is, put yourself out there and you'd be surprised with what you see
What does
and
that
what you
mean?
find.
What does that mean?
Open up about who you are to yourself first. Who you are, what you feel, what you want, not what you need.
Hmm.
No, no. Need is, it'll come. But what you want.
Hmm.
And like I said, you'd be surprised with the kind of image that talks back to you.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, really discover yourself
Yes.
and be okay facing whatever comes out, and it will not be that ugly that you won't like it.
No, it'll be beautiful, because that's the real person,
And
right?
even if it is, then you change.
Yeah. And the other one I'd again like to say is, believe in the fact that I am enough. I really like this phrase, I am enough, which is also a sentence in itself. But never stop discovering, or never stop pushing the edge of what is enough. Where does enough end?
Yeah.
Right? So, what I mean to say is that I'm enough for the others.
Hmm.
Who I am should be more than enough for what the others see of me.
Hmm.
You can't keep demanding more and expecting more from me. This is who I am, and this is what I love being, and I'm happy being that.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I myself will keep discovering myself, so that enough keeps becoming bigger.
Yeah.
Is These are my two takeaways.
Thank you very much. So, first is put yourself out there and that you are enough, and figure out the landscape of being enough, and what will come out may surprise you.
Absolutely.
Awesome. This is such a wealth of conversation that we just shared, and thank you, Deepti, for opening up, for being honest, and sharing some of the vulnerable piece of your stories. It takes a lot of courage to do that, and that's what exactly we need, especially from coaches, to be open and speak the truth and own their stories.
Own their stories. Absolutely. And thank you so much, Jaya. It's been a pleasure revisiting my various versions. I didn't know I was in version 5. So, let's see a couple of years down which version I'm in.
Wish you very good luck and take good care of yourself.
So much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.